In the shadowed hierarchies of hell, where demons hold courts and command legions, there exists a figure whose dominion extends over ruins and forbidden knowledge. Raum, the Great Earl of Hell. His name echoes through centuries of grimoires and demonological texts, a creature of transformation and destruction, whose true nature reveals itself only to those who dare to summon him. Before we descend into the depths of Raum's domain, if you find these explorations into demonology enlightening, consider subscribing to support my journey through the infernal realms. Your engagement helps me continue bringing these ancient mysteries to light. Raum holds the title of Great Earl within the infernal hierarchy, a position of considerable power and influence. According to the Pseudomonarchia Daemonum by Johann Weyer, Raum commands 30 legions of demons. The Lemegeton Clavicula Salomonis, specifically the first book known as the Ars Goetia, confirms this number, establishing Raum as the 40th spirit in the demonic ranking system. These 30 legions represent a substantial force, each legion traditionally consisting of between 3,000 to 6,000 spirits, meaning Raum's command extends over potentially 180,000 demonic entities. The title of Earl in the infernal hierarchy is significant. It places Raum among the nobility of hell, below the kings and dukes, but possessing substantial autonomy and authority. This rank grants him specific domains of influence and the power to act independently within certain parameters of infernal law. The appearance of Raum presents one of demonology's most striking examples of transformation. The Ars Goetia describes Raum as appearing in the form of a crow, but this avian manifestation is merely his initial presentation. The text continues to explain that he can take human shape at the request of the exorcist, a crucial detail that reveals the demon's relationship with those who summon him. This crow form is not arbitrary. The crow and raven have held symbolic significance across cultures for millennia, representing death, transformation, prophecy, and the liminal spaces between worlds. In choosing this form, Raum embodies these ancient associations. The bird of carrion, the creature that feeds upon the remains of what once was, becomes the perfect vessel for a demon whose very powers revolve around destruction and ruin. When Raum consents to take human form, he does so at the magician's request, an important distinction in ceremonial magic. Unlike some demons who appear in whatever form they choose, Raum's transformation into human shape requires a petitioner, suggesting a contractual relationship inherent in his summoning. The Grimoires do not describe his human appearance in detail, leaving this aspect shrouded in mystery. Does he appear as a nobleman befitting his rank? As a scholar suited to his knowledge? The texts remain silent, allowing the imagination to fill this void. Raum's primary abilities center on destruction, but this destruction is precise and purposeful. The Ars Goetia states that his office is to steal treasures out of kings' houses and to carry them where he is commanded. This power reveals Raum as a demon of redistribution, capable of penetrating even the most fortified locations. Royal treasuries in medieval times were not mere vaults but symbols of power, protected by guards, thick walls, and often believed to be under divine protection. That Raum can breach these defenses speaks to his supernatural capabilities, but Raum's destructive powers extend beyond mere theft. The Pseudomonarchia Daemonum elaborates that he can destroy cities and dignities of men. This represents a broader scope of devastation, not just material wealth, but the very structures of human civilization. Cities, in the medieval understanding, were pinnacles of human achievement, centers of commerce, culture, and order. Raum possesses the ability to reduce these achievements to rubble. The phrase dignities of men requires deeper examination. In medieval society, dignity referred not just to honor, but to rank, position, and social standing. Raum can strip away these social constructions, reducing the mighty to nothing. A king could become a pauper, a nobleman could lose his titles, a respected figure could find his reputation demolished. This power operates on both material and immaterial planes. Raum destroys not just buildings, but the very concept of status. Yet Raum is not merely an agent of destruction. The Ars Goetia reveals another aspect of his office. He tells all things past and what is and what will be. This grants Raum the power of temporal knowledge, the ability to perceive across the boundaries of time itself. In the present, Raum sees hidden truths, secrets concealed from mortal eyes. He perceives what is happening in distant places, behind closed doors, in the hearts of men. Looking backward, Raum reveals the past. This is not the past of history books, but the true past. Events as they actually occurred, stripped of bias and revision. For the medieval magician, this power held immense value. Questions of inheritance could be resolved, crimes could be solved, lost knowledge could be recovered. Raum becomes a demonic historian, an infernal archivist with perfect recall. Most tantalizing and dangerous is Raum's knowledge of the future. The Ars Goetia states that he knows what will be, granting him prophetic vision. However, the Grimoires provide no examples of Raum's prophecies, no recorded predictions. This silence is telling. Either his prophecies were too dangerous to record, or those who received them chose not to share such knowledge. The future, even when revealed, remains mutable and uncertain, and knowing what will be does not always mean understanding how to change it or whether one should. Perhaps most surprising among Raum's abilities is his power over relationships. The Grimoires state that Raum can reconcile friends and foes. This seems paradoxical for a demon associated with destruction, yet it reveals the complex nature of infernal powers. Reconciliation, in this context, is not born of love or forgiveness, but of manipulation and influence. When Raum reconciles friends who have quarreled, he does not heal wounds or restore genuine affection. Rather, he removes the barriers to cooperation, the pride and anger that keep former allies apart. This serves practical purposes. A magician might need two enemies to work together, two former friends to set aside their differences. Raum makes this possible through means the texts do not specify. Does he cloud judgment, manipulate emotions, create situations that force cooperation? The mechanisms remain his secret. The reconciliation of foes presents even greater complexity. Enemies brought together by Raum's intervention do not become friends in any true sense. They become useful to each other, bound by invisible chains of demonic influence. This power would prove invaluable to anyone seeking political advantage, business success, or social manipulation. The Grimoires provide specific instructions for summoning Raum, though these rituals demand precision and courage. According to the tradition of Solomonic magic, the magician must prepare properly, purified through fasting and prayer, protected within a consecrated circle, armed with the seal and symbols of divine names. The Lemegeton emphasizes that the operator must be firm in his will and clear in his intention. Raum's seal, as depicted in the Ars Goetia, must be drawn in the appropriate manner and worn by the magician or shown to the spirit. These seals function as both identification and compulsion. They demonstrate that the magician knows the demon's true nature and possesses the authority to command him. The seal of Raum, like those of other Goetic demons, combines geometric patterns with symbolic elements that encode the spirit's essence. When Raum appears in his crow form, the magician must maintain composure. The sight of a supernatural crow, a creature of impossible size or unsettling presence, could break the concentration of the unprepared. Only after establishing authority can the magician request Raum to take human form. This request must be made with the confidence of one who commands, not the timidity of one who begs. Once manifested in human shape, Raum can be questioned and given tasks. The Grimoires warn that demons, even when bound, may attempt to deceive or mislead. The magician must phrase requests precisely, leaving no room for malicious interpretation. A request for treasure could result in stolen goods that bring legal trouble. A question about the future might receive a technically true answer that misleads through omission. Raum appears in the major grimoires of the Solomonic tradition, texts that claim ancient origins but were compiled in the medieval and early modern periods. The Pseudomonarchia Daemonum, published as an appendix to Johann Weyer's De Prestigiis Daemonum in 1577, represents one of the earliest printed sources to catalog Raum. Weyer, a physician and occult skeptic, compiled this list not to encourage demon summoning, but to expose what he considered dangerous superstitions. The Lemegeton Clavicula Salomonis, or Lesser Key of Solomon, appears in various manuscripts dating from the 17th century, though it claims much older origins. The first part, the Ars Goetia, lists Raum as the 40th demon in a hierarchy of 72 spirits. These spirits are supposedly those bound by King Solomon and imprisoned in a brass vessel, released and catalogued so that later magicians might also command them. The number 40 holds significance in biblical and mystical numerology: 40 days and nights of rain, 40 years in the wilderness, 40 days of temptation. Whether Raum's position at number 40 in the Goetic hierarchy carries intentional meaning or is arbitrary remains a matter of scholarly debate. As an Earl of Hell, Raum exists within a strictly ordered hierarchy that mirrors earthly feudal systems. This hierarchy, described in various grimoires, assigns different demons to ranks such as king, duke, prince, marquess, earl, knight, and president. Each rank carries specific privileges and limitations, specific domains and authorities. Earls in the infernal hierarchy typically command fewer legions than kings or dukes, but possess greater autonomy than lower-ranking spirits. They serve at the pleasure of higher powers while exercising dominion over those beneath them. Raum's 30 legions place him in the middle tier of power, substantial but not supreme. The grimoires suggest that these hierarchies are not metaphorical but represent genuine structures of infernal governance. Demons have territories, responsibilities, and chains of command. They engage in politics, form alliances, and compete for influence. Raum, as an earl, participates in this system, bound by its rules even as he exercises power within its framework. Though the grimoires do not explicitly assign Raum to an elemental category, his crow form suggests an association with air. Air in magical tradition represents intellect, communication, and the abstract, fitting for a demon who deals in knowledge and prophecy. The crow, a creature of the sky, moves between earth and heaven, between the material and the ethereal. This aerial nature aligns with Raum's abilities. Knowledge moves like wind, invisible, pervasive, capable of reaching everywhere. Destruction, too, can sweep through like a storm, leaving ruin in its wake. The reconciliation of enemies might be compared to changing winds that shift allegiances and alter the landscape of human relations. In ceremonial magic, different spirits respond to different environmental conditions. While the texts do not specify when Raum is most easily summoned, the connection to air might suggest certain times and conditions: twilight hours when day meets night, windy conditions, or times when the barrier between worlds grows thin. The relationship between Raum and the magician who summons him is fundamentally transactional. Unlike deals with devils in folklore, where souls are exchanged for services, the Goetic tradition operates on different principles. The magician compels obedience through knowledge of secret names, sacred symbols, and ritual authority. This is not negotiation but command, not bargaining but binding. Yet this relationship contains inherent dangers. Raum possesses knowledge and power far exceeding human capability. A moment's lapse in concentration, an error in the protective circle, a mispronounced name, any of these could shift the balance of power. The texts warn that demons constantly seek opportunities to escape their bonds, to turn the tables on those who would command them. The wise magician uses Raum's powers sparingly and with clear purpose. To steal from kings' treasuries invites political danger. To destroy cities courts divine wrath. To know the future burdens the mind with terrible knowledge. To reconcile enemies creates artificial peace that may shatter catastrophically when Raum's influence wanes. Within the 72 demons of the Ars Goetia, Raum shares characteristics with several other spirits while maintaining unique attributes. His power over treasure connects him to demons like Boon, who makes the dead rich and gives wisdom. His knowledge of past, present, and future parallels spirits like Marchosius and Morax, though each demon's perspective and method of revelation differs. The ability to destroy cities and dignities finds echoes in the powers of more overtly destructive demons, yet Raum's destruction seems more surgical, more purposeful than simple chaos. He does not destroy for the sake of destruction, but dismantles specific targets with precision. His crow form distinguishes him from many demons who appear as human figures, composite beasts, or in more abstract manifestations. Only a handful of Goetic demons take bird forms, and among these, Raum's crow stands out for its symbolic weight. darker and more ominous than the peacock or other avian appearances. Where does Raum originate? The Grimoires claim Solomonic authority, suggesting these demons existed in antiquity and were catalogued by the legendary king. However, scholarly examination reveals a more complex history. Many Goetic demons have names derived from various sources, corrupted divine names, titles of ancient gods, or invented appellations that follow patterns of magical naming. Raum as a name does not appear in earlier Jewish mystical texts or biblical apocrypha. It does not match known names of angels or fallen angels from Enochian literature. This suggests Raum may be a medieval creation, a spirit discovered or invented by magicians experimenting with summoning rituals and catalog building. Yet this does not necessarily diminish Raum's significance in the magical tradition. Whether ancient or medieval in origin, the concept of Raum as a distinct entity with specific powers has been accepted and worked with by practitioners for centuries. In magic, belief and practice often matter more than historical authenticity. Unlike demons in other traditions, the fallen angels who took human wives in the Book of Enoch, or the demons of various mythologies with complex family relationships, Raum exists in isolation. The Grimoires make no mention of a wife, children, or familial connections. He is not the son of another demon, nor the father of lesser spirits. He exists as a singular entity, defined by rank and function rather than lineage. This absence is characteristic of Goetic demonology. The 72 demons of the Ars Goetia are organized by hierarchy and power, not by family trees. They serve in an ordered system, but not a genealogical one. This reflects the Grimoires' focus on practical magic rather than mythological narrative. What matters is not who Raum's father was, but what Raum can do for the magician who summons him. The lack of family connections also emphasizes Raum's nature as a bound spirit. He is not a god with a history, not a fallen angel with a story of rebellion, but a demon in service, a tool in the magician's arsenal. The Grimoires contain few specific legends or stories about Raum's actions. Unlike folk tales that describe demons interfering in human affairs, or medieval accounts of demonic possession, the Solomonic texts maintain a clinical tone. They list powers and provide summoning instructions, but rarely offer narrative examples. This absence of legend makes Raum a somewhat mysterious figure compared to demons who appear in multiple contexts, like Asmodeus with his appearances in the Book of Tobit, or Belial who features in various biblical and apocryphal texts. Raum exists almost exclusively within the Grimoire tradition, a specialist demon known primarily to practitioners of ceremonial magic. If legends of Raum's workings exist, they remain in the private records of magicians, the journals and notebooks where practical magic is documented. Such records, when they survive, rarely enter the historical mainstream. They remain in private collections, lost archives, or destroyed by owners who feared persecution for dabbling in forbidden arts. The powers Raum offers raise profound ethical questions. Stealing from kings might seem like redistribution of wealth, but it is theft nonetheless. Destroying cities ends countless innocent lives. Manipulating reconciliations violates free will. Even the seemingly benign power of revealing knowledge becomes problematic. Knowing the past might expose secrets meant to stay buried. Knowing the future might create self-fulfilling prophecies. The Grimoires themselves show little concern with these ethical dimensions. They present demon summoning as a practical art, neutral in itself, dependent on the practitioner's intentions. Understanding Raum requires seeing him not in isolation, but as part of the larger Grimoire tradition. The Ars Goetia does not stand alone but connects to other texts, the Ars Goetia, the Ars Paulina, and the Ars Almadel, that together form the Lemegeton. These texts describe different categories of spirits, different methods of operation, different purposes for magical work. Raum belongs to the Goetic category, demons bound by Solomon, commanded through specific rituals, compelled by sacred names and symbols. This distinguishes him from the aerial spirits of the Ars Goetia, the angels of the Ars Paulina, or the angels of altitude in the Ars Almadel. Each category operates by different rules, requires different approaches, offers different capabilities. In this context, Raum represents a specific type of spiritual entity, dangerous but controllable, powerful but bounded, useful but requiring great caution. He embodies the Grimoire tradition's fundamental assumption that spirits exist in hierarchies, respond to knowledge and authority, and can be made to serve human purposes when approached with proper technique and preparation. Raum, the 40th spirit of the Ars Goetia, emerges from the Grimoires as a complex figure: destroyer and reconciler, thief and prophet, crow and man. His 30 legions give him substantial power within the infernal hierarchy. His abilities to steal treasures, destroy cities, reveal temporal knowledge, and reconcile enemies make him versatile and valuable to the magician bold enough to summon him. Yet Raum remains enigmatic. The texts reveal his powers but not his personality, his rank but not his history, his appearance but not his inner nature. He exists in the Grimoires as a function, a set of capabilities to be exploited, a spirit to be commanded. Whether he possesses consciousness, motivation, or desires beyond the roles assigned to him, the texts do not say. In the end, Raum represents a particular vision of the demonic, not the tempter of souls, not the possessor of bodies, but the bound servant of the knowledgeable magician. He is power made accessible through ritual, danger rendered controllable through technique, the supernatural brought into service of human will. Whether such control is real or illusory, whether Raum truly serves or merely bides his time, the Grimoires do not answer. They simply present the methods and leave the consequences to those brave or foolish enough to call upon the crow-winged Earl of Hell. Thank you for joining us on this journey into the shadows of demonological tradition. If you found this exploration of Raum enlightening, please subscribe and share this video with others interested in the historical study of the occult. Until next time, may your curiosity guide you safely through the mysteries of the past.